Hi, everyone. I'm Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, and I am with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, and here is how we see it.
So we're really excited tonight. We have two very special guests. I would say one in particular. I love you, Suzanne, for showing up here, but I've known Rodney for 20 years. We both started way back, and he'll talk to you more about his background. But when we met, we started the Canadian Federation of Executive Entrepreneurs. We actually had Mark Breslin, the owner of Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club, as our chair, and it was just lovely. And we met so many fantastic entrepreneurs. Rodney was the president of the Young Entrepreneurs Association, which is just absolutely wonderful. And that's when we got together. So Rodney, to no further ado, he will also introduce Sosan, who was a really big part of his life. Rodney.
Hi, how are you guys today? Like Lori said, my name is Rodney Defreitas, and my background is in kinesiology and biomechanics. I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I'm a former national level gymnast. I was a gymnast all my life. That was my athletic career. Again, Lori said, I was the president of the Young Entrepreneurs Association, and together Lori and I founded the Canadian Federation of Executive Entrepreneurs. And after that, I went back into my fitness and athletic roots and got into personal training. I spent 15 years as a personal trainer in post-rehab strength conditioning. That was my specialty. I actually met Sosan through a personal training friend of mine who actually, Sosan pretty much saved my joints from my athletic career. My joints were really bad after my gymnastic career. I couldn't hardly climb the stairs in my house. I had to literally hold the railings and pull myself up the stairs to avoid the pain. And my friend O'Neill knew Sosan and just mentioned to Sosan my issues. She recommended some certain ingredients and products for me to try because she's one of the top dietitians in the country. So she gets all these companies just throwing products at her for her endorsement because she's so amazing. So she sent me some products. I tried them. After about a month and a half, I was about maybe 75% pain-free. After about maybe 3 months, I was 99% pain-free, and I've been pain-free ever since. So, at that point, I went, who's this Sosan? What are these things I'm taking? I need to meet her. I got to partner with her. This will help my fitness and wellness career, my fitness and wellness business. So, and long story short, we are now colleagues and business partners.
Wow. Fantastic.
And you know what, with Sosan, I mean, her background is so extensive, and I always have to keep a copy of her accolades in my phone because they're just so long. I keep forgetting. So just bear with me while I just run through them just briefly. Okay, so she's a mother of two. She's a mompreneur. She's a registered dietitian, like I said, one of the top dietitians in the country. She's a certified diabetes educator. She's a faculty member of Centennial College. She has a weekly nutrition segment on AM 1430. She's a past co-chairperson for the Canadian Cancer Society for the Chinese Symposium. She's an advisory member for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. She co-authored for Canadian Diabetes Beyond the Basic Chapter cookbook for chronic diseases and recipe developer for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. She's also a nutrition expert for various organizations and TV media outlets. She's a global weight loss training coach around the world, and she's a certified TLS weight loss coach and trainer.
Beautiful, and that's what we're actually going to be talking about tonight is in regards to the COVID-19 weight gain. So this is why we have Rodney and Sosan on here, is to help us understand how to get back on track, lose that weight, and maintain that weight once you lost it. So Roy, do you have a question quickly before we get Sosan to also
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, because I'm a type 2 diabetic. So I'm interested in, what can I do? Like she says, I put on some weight due to COVID. That's not the only reason, but I need to get my weight down, and I need to get my blood sugar down. So, what can you tell me about that? I mean, I know it's just no real quick answer, but
That's a big handful question. So first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. It's really an honor. I love sharing my I guess my passion about nutrition and prevention. So to answer the question, I know during the COVID-19 it has been very hard for a lot of people, mentally very hard. Obviously, physically, we're confined to our own home, and that creates a lot of challenges for those people. At home, there's challenge. I mean, the convenience factor is one of the biggest challenge. So what's the convenience factor? We all know is access to our refrigerator and our pantry 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Exactly.
And on top of that, you don't have a boss that see you going to the kitchen every how many minutes and start looking at stuff, right? At work, you don't really get to go to the pantry or the kitchen too often. So that's one of the reasons. But I think let's kind of start off by saying that during the time, obviously, you mentioned that for people, even people who don't have diabetes, it's tough for them. For people with diabetes, it is especially tough because, in general speaking, we all, like, as the most basic, we understand that when we eat food that are very high in carbohydrates, food like mainly refined carbohydrate, they actually found that during the last 3 months, the #1 selling product were all refined packaged food. Okay, there's two things that were like, while the other business is going down the hill, there's two businesses that actually went up. One is pizza delivery, and second is alcohol, right? And if you were to go to the supermarket, aside from the necessity that we all worry about, aside from the toilet paper craze, it was a lot of processed food that were gone. So it's not surprising with pizza, alcohol, and processed food. What can that lead to? For people with diabetes, higher blood sugar. For people with high blood pressure, even higher blood pressure. And for people with cholesterol issue, guess what? More problem, and ultimately you gain the weight. So a simple answer would be to kind of get back on track. Well, like, it's easy to say get back on track, but I think that I often say, when I work with my clients, I often say that if we have a lot of things that we can do right now, if we can only focus one thing, what's the first thing that you would want to focus on? And I often say, start with the thing that is the easiest to change at this moment. Because human being, if you strive for the highest, you're not that motivated right now. And if I ask you to go to climb the highest mountain, you're not going. But if we start with the lower mountain, and if you can climb over that, there's a sense of accomplishment that move you forward to the next stage. And that's very important. So I would say that all the things, let's go, you kind of, I use the 3A. I always say 3A. First, it's awareness. Awareness of what's the biggest problem for you. Is it eating? Is it because of stress? Is it because of lack of sleep? Is it because of craving? Is it because of weird hours that you have just because it's the whole COVID-19 that you're at home? Ask yourself, what is the problem? You need to be aware of the problem in order to fix the problem. So that's one, is awareness. Number two is the hardest, accepting it is a problem. A lot of people are in denial. So you need to be aware, then you need to accept. And third is application. Once you accept, then you decide on which one area that you want to work as the smallest mountain first, then we apply. So let's suppose you say, right now, I have this humongous craving for sweet. I just want that. That is my comfort zone or my comfort food. Then you ask yourself, whenever you have that craving, is it because one, they're available, or two, because you're really hungry? If it's available, that's easier. Then next time when you finish that food, you don't buy again, right? You like out sight, out mind. That's number one. If you say, because I'm hungry, then we need to work on the meal before. Like, let's suppose that by 2, 3 o'clock, you have that craving. Then maybe you should ask yourself at lunch, are you getting enough fiber? Are you getting enough healthy fat? Are you getting enough protein? If you get these three down pack as in your breakfast or lunch or whatever the meal that you have before, they will stabilize your sugar and prevent that blood sugar dropping. Hence the craving and looking for that quick fix is often refined sugar. So simply said, was start with where you think's the problem, accepting it is the problem, then apply it and see how it goes from there.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I mean, just like for me, you know, if you put a steak down there or a piece of pie, I'm going to take the pie. That's that's the problem. See?
And
it's true. And I mean, like,
it's weird.
you take the steak.
Usually it's the other way around.
You see, that the thing is, it's very interesting. I work with thousands and thousands of clients, and I realize that when you treat the food as good and bad, it creates a certain emotional identifying with yourself, and it's often not healthy. Instead of thinking of it being good or bad, I will often say, when you eat that food, are you nourishing your body? It's not just having that short-term satisfaction. How is this short-term satisfaction lead to the future? What's that choice? Because having that piece of cake is not a problem. It's that piece of cake that create that blood sugar going up, crash, then you want another piece of cake. It's the second piece of cake being the problem, not the first piece of cake. So you need to kind of understand, I'm all about 80-20. 80% of the time you try your best to eat as healthy as you can because that's nourishing to your body, and 20% you enjoy it. That's part of life. No one can be 100% all the time. Then you have undue necessary stress, which does not help with your blood sugar, right? So you kind of need to look at the whole picture. But between you said a piece of pie and a steak, and you chose pie, it's because most people who love, unfortunately, a lot of people who are diabetic do love their carbs. It's their best friend, right? It is their best friend.
I mean, that's what I always go for. My wife's always telling me, she said, "You're the most potato eating person I've ever seen in my life." She said, "I've never eaten, but I mean, I'm just a carb guy." And it's funny because you said diabetic education. In 2011, I had a heart attack, and when I went to the hospital, I found out I was a diabetic. I didn't know, so I went to diabetic education. And so the lady told us, she said, "Look," because I thought once you're a diabetic, no sugar, period, she goes, "No, that's not it. You can have sweets." She said, "If let's say Fig Newtons, the cookie, say you like those, 3 of them are a serving. You can't eat the whole sleeve, but you can have 3. Pizza, you can have a slice of pizza, but you can't eat the whole pizza by yourself, So, that stuff, so."
Okay.
So Sam, sorry, I just want to say quickly.
Yeah.
So I was telling Roy, and we did one of these. I was bulimic for almost 30 years on and off.
Oh, wow.
I've been off of it for 10 years, but what changed is what you're talking about is I stopped making them trigger foods. I made them that if I want a chocolate bar, believe it or not, I can have a Kit Kat. I can have 1 piece of the Kit Kat, leave the other 3 now. I don't deny myself. I don't look at it as a trigger food. It's in the mindset too. So like, Roy, when you're going to eat that piece of pie, have a piece, but you don't need to eat the whole thing. And I think over time, you can actually process in your mind that you can actually do this. And if I do want a chocolate bar, I go, you know what? Wouldn't a granola bar be better? Because it's going to give me more nutrition, and it's also going to give me that sweet and salty taste or whatever.
Yeah.
And I like it too. Rodney, I just want to kick in here for us just quickly, because we're talking about nutrition, but there's exercise too. And this COVID-19 closed down all the gyms. I have a home gym, so I'm okay with that. I've hidden it. I've got my elliptical in back there. But how do you feel, if you don't mind, Sosan? I'd like to have a little bit of an idea of how that's affecting people.
Well, first of all, Lori, the mindset is very, very important as well. Being in the fitness industry all my life, and being a national level athlete, it all comes down to mindset. When you are competing against another national or international level athlete, and the difference between a gold and 4th place is 3/100ths of a point, you have to, the physicality of it goes out the window, because at that level, you're all the same. The difference is who wants it bad enough. And at that point, this is what comes into play, right? So you have to have that mindset. Having that 1 piece of Kit Kat and saving the other 3 is a mindset, right? Trimming the fat off your steak is a mindset, right? So that's very important to have. Now, in terms of exercise during COVID-19, I have my own home gym as well, but some people don't. There's many things that you can do in and out of the house to help you relieve your stress, which will help reduce your cortisol level, then you're not going to be craving all these salty, fatty, sugary carbs and foods. You know, get 2 bags of flour, you know, and just do some bicep curls with 2 bags of flour, you know. Or, you know, you can do take 2 bags of flour and do some squats, you know, or you can even just, you know, do a workout in like a, you know, 5 by 5 foot area. You don't need a gym, because with your own body weight, you know, there's something called HIIT, high intensity interval training, you know, and it's all using your own body weight. In my gym, I don't have a barbell or big plates for squats. So in that case, whenever I'm doing legs, I usually do a HIIT routine. So I don't use any legs, I just any weights. I just use my own body weight, you know. So people can do that. If you have access, you have a big backyard, you have a park, you know, you can go for a bike ride, you can go running. One thing I will tell you though, most important thing, I know a lot of people don't like weight training, and that's okay. You don't have to weight train to exercise. My tip to everyone, first and foremost, is to find something that you absolutely love to do. Because if you love doing it, you're going to stick to it and you're not going to quit. It could be even as far as you know, as slow as gardening. Just get outside and start moving. Just do something. You know, go for a fast walk around the block. Play hoops with your son or daughter in the driveway if you have a basketball net. Which actually reminds me, I was actually playing hoops with my son, I think a week into lockdown, and I forgot to put the right pair of shoes on. So I had my runners on instead of my basketball shoes. So with runners, profile, they're more narrow and a little bit higher, right? So I rolled my ankle a few times in the driveway. So I had to run back in. That's just a tip for you guys. If you're going to play hoops, wear the right shoes. You know, so I had to run back in and get my basketball shoes, which is a flatter, wider profile. So it's more stability, right? So that's a little tip for you guys. Choose your right shoes. But choose anything, a bike ride, mountain biking, anything that you love to do, get outside and start moving.
Here's just something really quick too that I want to tell people. I actually literally only gained 1 pound, but 1 pound of weight, but more of fat. So I'm slim, but I did notice that even if the scale's not going up, and that's where people are sitting there going, well, I didn't gain weight. Yeah, but did you look at your fat content? Because I was really, really active. And for 3 months, I went from 10,000 steps a day to sitting at my computer most of the time. And I paddle boat with my dogs, but it's not nearly as much. And I've noticed. So people should not be, you know, the scale is not telling you everything.
No, we always tell our clients, you know what, throw the scale away, put it in the closet. Because a lot of people get depressed that way, because when you're losing weight and you're getting in shape, muscle is a different density than fat, and muscle takes up less space. But because it's more dense than fat, you might look at the scale 2 or 3 weeks later, but you might be the same weight or even a little bit heavier. And you're going, well, why am I heavier? I'm doing all the right things. It's because you're losing the body fat and you're gaining lean muscle tissue, but your weight's still consistent. I would say, how do your clothes fit? You know, is it looser? Is it tighter? That's the main scale, is how do your clothes fit and how do you feel? And how do you look when you see yourself in the mirror? There's a big difference between someone who weighs 125 pounds at 30% body fat and someone who weighs 125 pounds at 12 or 15 or 18% body fat. Their body shape is quite different and the size of their clothes are quite different, but they will weigh the same thing on the scale.
Yeah.
Right?
I totally concur, and I often and I agree with you. I often say take the scale, because the scale is, I think it doesn't do any more than just a number of an absolute weight of your whole body, which includes your bone, water weight, fat, your tissue, and so forth. But like you said, for clothing, when I work with my clients, I often say choose your favorite pair of jeans that that fits you right now, and try on this pair of jeans once every 2 weeks, because inches takes time. And every 2 weeks, if you notice your pair of jeans, like unless you wash that pair of jeans, it should not shrink in size. Okay, it should stay relatively. So this is that your measuring tape, because of all the clothes, jeans is not as forgiving unless you get the stretchy jeans. But when you talk about typical jeans, you know how it fit when a jean doesn't fit. Okay, you don't need an expert to talk to you about that, and that is the best. And even up to now, I know this sounds bizarre, I still keep my high school jeans, and not because they're stylish. It's because I use it as my measurement stick.
Yeah, you don't want those little muffin tops starting to go over the top of the waist,
Well,
which is what happened to me.
well,
It's like when you're wearing your jeans and you bend over and you feel something a little bit tight right there hanging over your belt buckle, you know something's going on, right?
Yes.
well,
Yep. And
go
I just
ahead.
want to add one more point, and to add on what Rodney was saying, and I found that was very helpful. This is recently I found this was very helpful in helping my clients, is the way, like you mentioned, mindset, which is everything has to do with mindset, but it's the wording that you use for mindset. And I want to share the difference between these two wording, and I want you to feel the difference. Okay. So for example, if I was a smoker and I want to quit smoking, imagine I have people tell me, hey, Sosan, you don't go for a smoke. If your answer is, I can't smoke, means that you still want to smoke, but you just know that you shouldn't be doing it. So you just, I can't. Instead, if you say to your friends who's asking you, I don't smoke, it's a very different thing. I don't mean that it's not like you are forced to not smoking. You're no longer a smoker. You have a new identity. So next time, when you want to make some changes, try to replace I can't with I don't. It really framed that mindset is very different. Say, oh, do you want a piece of cake? You said, oh, I can't have it, or I don't want to have it. It's a very different perspective. And that gives you your new identity, and that new identity will help you make logical choices majority of the time. I mean, there are days we enjoy, there are days I will have a glass of wine, or I have a piece of cake, and I'll be okay with that. Like people said, you're a dietitian, will you have cake? I say, oh yeah. You have wine? Oh yeah. Just not as often where most people would have it, but I will have it because that's part of life. And if you deny yourself, then you will get into what we call like the negative kind of relationship with food. And I don't want a negative relationship with food. I think food can be enjoyed, but it's a balancing act, right? And that's why I always say 80-20 for that one. So I just want to include that part so people know I can't versus I don't.
Well, Rodney reminded me of something a while ago that happened to me a long time ago. So I kind of injured my back. So this doctor, he says, you need to lose some weight. He said, you need to, I said, yeah, well, he goes, so he says, I'll tell you what, he said, do you go shopping at the grocery store with your wife? I go, well, yeah, every once in a while. He goes, well, how long do you spend there? I go, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. He said, okay, let me give you a little experiment to do, because you don't think your weight is really any issue. Well, I'm a little overweight. I understand. He goes, tell you what you do. Next time you go to the store with your wife, first thing you do, go where the dog food is, pick up 25 pounds of dog food, put one under each arm, and walk around with your wife the whole time you're in the grocery store. And I said, oh,
how'd that work out for you?
Oh, he said, seriously, he said, do it. And then when you come back next week, tell me what you thought about it. So like a moron, I did it. And I thought, by the time the 30 minutes over, I was glad to get rid of them 2 things of dog food.
But they are pretty heavy bags, though. Those dog food, they're heavy bags.
Yeah, he said. So that's what that's doing to your joints and your body. So, but he said, that's the easiest way for me to explain to people where they can actually see it.
I also do that with butter. I sit there when I hold how much fat I have around here. I'm going, yeah, that's 1 pound of butter. That's another pound of butter. That's another pound of butter. And you literally put 4 pounds of butter in your hands. They say, oh, I've only gained 4 pounds. Try holding 4 pounds of butter in your hands. That's not just a little bit. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Just quickly, too. I love the movie, What About Bob? Baby Steps, because that's what you were talking about, Sosan. I think that movie should be all over the place right now. It's from, the 1980s or something? But it's so perfect because it's baby steps, even getting out of the house. It was scary for people. I mean, I know I already have anxieties that I fought like 10 years ago as far as wanting to stay in the house. and being isolated for 3 months, I started feeling those same feelings again, right? I think I ordered my food in, and I was like, I don't want to go out anywhere. I have my paddle boat, I could go there.
Well,
But it's not even about the COVID anymore. It's about being in a social environment that's kind of spooking me up again.
Yeah.
well, back before COVID, I was weight training 3 days a week. I wasn't 500 pounds, but I mean, I was just basically trying to tone and stay. And my wife and I would walk 3 miles a day, at least, 5 days a week. So,
Nice.
and that was, we enjoyed it. We'd sit and talk and just walk around. We have up at the city, the trail to go around. So, I enjoyed that. Weight training, sometimes are better than others. I just having to wait on somebody to finish, and the problem is it's a social thing. So everybody wants to sit and talk, and all the guys are trying to talk to the girls, and I want to get my workout done and go. But anyway, so the gyms are starting to open back up here now, but and so the park is opened up again. So walking, and that 3 miles a day was a good one for us. So and they say walking is pretty good. So
It's amazing. You should continue to do that as well. Even find if you like hiking, try and find a hilly area, and because it's really great for your quads, and it really works on your heart as well. So find some hilly areas to go onto, and like in the forest, some beautiful sceneries, just somewhere nice, but a lot of hilly areas. It'll be a great workout for you.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
And I would suggest to add one more during this time where you find that yourself, although you want to get back on track and you still find it challenging, is having a accountability partner is great.
Yeah.
Because in life is, we often enough, like just think about, like in life, we always have somebody say, hey, you forgot to do that. Hey, and that's nice. I think sometimes is when you know that yourself is having challenges to get yourself on track, then find a accountability partner. But this person that you find, you have to be very careful. It may not be your wife or your husband, okay?
Right.
It may not be your best friend. It could be someone that you're not that close, but you trust that person will keep you on track. Because sometimes your loved one, the one that's closest to you, are often the easiest on you, and it's not doing much. Because when you're looking at accountability partner, you're looking for a coach in that sense. Someone who will actually keep you on track, but kind of kick your ASS when you need to.
That could be as much as, and I have to say this, I've been single for 17 years, living on my own, but you know who my accountability partners are? My dogs. They will not.
Yes.
They have to be out there. And I
Yeah.
swear that they've been a huge, even during COVID, I would do it like off hours, like late at night, really early in the morning when nobody was around. But they want to go out, and they have to go out. So those are so it doesn't have to be even a person. It can be as much
you're
as a
right.
dog.
I totally
That's a
agree.
great account,
I have clients, and when they were thinking about having a dog, I was like, go for it, because I know what the dog can do. I have so many clients who was not motivated to walk, but as soon as they got a pet, oh my goodness, that dog, they walked 3 times, morning, afternoon, and evening. Wow, from 0 walking to 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, away, good dog.
That's awesome. So we're getting near the end of our time now, but I really want people, we are That Gal with That Guy on podcast, and I would like for both Rodney and you, Sosan, to tell us how can our listeners find you, and our viewers, because we're also going to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sosan, you can go first if you'd like.
Well, I do have a website that people can go to, because I do share my recipe. I mean, I do have a radio show, but the only thing with the radio show is limited by language. It is in Cantonese. So anybody who is speaking Cantonese, more than happy, join me at AM 1540. But if you are not a Cantonese and more of a Caucasian than English speaking, like we're doing right here, then I would say go to my website. It's www.simplysosan.com, and you will find recipe, and you can find me with my email address, which is simplyinfo@simplysosan.com.
Great.
And for me, I think the easiest and best way to locate me would be on Instagram. Just type in my name, Rodney Defreitas. Last name is spelled DE. Freitas. So Rodney Defreitas. Or you can go to my website at www.tlsslim.com/shop your world. And there you'll find all sorts of recipes and exercise programs, supplementation to support your weight loss needs, everything that you can think of to help you live a healthy lifestyle, you can find it right there in the resources section. And plus on my Instagram page, I'm doing posts every day about healthy eating and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, beautiful pictures. I keep watching them. They get you really hungry though, but it's all healthy, so it's okay. You can eat as much as you want of that stuff.
Well, see, it's all about eating real foods. You don't have to, like I said to you last night, Lori, it's not about taking foods away. It's not about counting calories. It's not about weighing your foods. You know, it's about eating real foods. And yes, if you want to have a piece of pie or a glass of wine, go ahead. But like Sosan said earlier, it's all in moderation, you know, because life happens, you know, so we have to be able to enjoy life and not be able to limit ourselves in enjoying life, but just be aware, okay, I'm having one glass of wine and you know, I had my fix and I'm good, right? Don't go overboard.
There's the other thing too, because as I was saying, when I was actually coming out of my bulimia and building a relationship with food that was healthy, because my original wasn't, obviously, and I don't know why I did it or why I even got there and how it lasted so long, because today I can't even think about it. But one of the things that too, the speed at which you eat, right? Because your stomach is only going to tell you that you're full after 20 minutes. You can actually eat really quickly, 10 minutes, go for that second plate, eat the second one, and then after that 20 minutes comes, you just feel like, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I see a lot of people. Well, you know, my wife's Italian, so you know how the Italians eat, right?
Oh yeah, that's my
They're
mom.
just shoveling it in, right? So I'm glad she's not here to see me. Yeah. So you know, so they get used to that, you know, and they just shovel it in. And my son, my older son, he inhales his food. And you know, slow down. It's okay. You know, there's plenty of food. You don't have, you know, it's not a race. Slow down. It's okay. You know, but there's so many complications that can come along with eating that fast. You know, and the first thing that you said is like, you know, the brain stomach connection of how long it takes the brain to signal the stomach or stomach signal the brain that you're full, and you know how much do you shut your stomach in the process.
Yeah.
And
I just thought that was one of the best things ever, was the speed at which I ate made a huge difference. And then I also knew I wanted some ice cream after my meal, but then after that 20 minutes, I actually wasn't hungry for it. And I don't like the discomfort of being too full.
Yeah.
So I just say, okay, well, you know what? I'll wait a couple hours, have my little bowl of ice cream. But if you put it all together, that discomfort is not good, and it's not healthy for your stomach because you're stretching it to a point where it doesn't want to be stretched, right?
Well, a good tip is, go ahead, Sarah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add, and also thing is sometimes when you eat so fast, your mind not only not able to process because it takes 20 minutes, but also because when you eat so fast, your awareness, you actually didn't have the perception that you ate, because you ate so fast. But when you chew and you savor the food, it's so rich and flavor that you feel so satisfied that you don't need that much to be satisfied because you're actually savoring it. But when you eat so fast, and that's why when people do those liquid diet, I can never understand how they feel full, because when you drink, you're not, because part of chewing and tasting food is so important. So I mean, I love my green smoothies, but that's not my meal. That's maybe on breakfast time, but lunch and dinner, definitely no. I want a real solid food because I want to know and feel that I'm eating. And that's eating that slowly is really savoring the food, and you find yourself enjoying without so much food. And and that go back to intuitive eating, mindfulness in eating, which is so important, basically.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think we have a lot of great information here. Roy, do you have another question before?
No, I was just going to say, hopefully maybe in another 3 months, we can get back with you guys.
Sure.
Sure.
And, you know, and we'll.
I'll do a before and after picture. How's that?
You know, yeah, but no, I would like to get back and we just kind of have an update of what's going on with us. since
Yeah,
we stopped
for
eating.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Like definitely, and Roy, like definitely reach out to Rodney and I, and we're more than happy because diabetes is it's my like I'm Rodney didn't really share, but originally for me is I actually wanted to become an interior designer. I never thought I would be a dietitian. I know it's so weird how like how did someone go into art and creativity gone to like becomes into like science. It's actually because my grandmother died from diabetes complication. And I changed my major because I did not want to see another family member suffer what my grandmother suffered. And that's why I make it my mission to start out by helping my family, then become a bigger mission to help the world. And that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I've been doing the radio show for the past 12 years, is because I want to educate people to make that informed choices. Basically, I'm very passionate about this area.
And what did you say in our quick interview? Sorry, Roy, but Rodney, we had that quick interview. You said knowledge, right?
Knowledge is power. You know, it's all about education. We all know that the fitness and diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar market. You know, and there's so many people that want to jump on the bandwagon, and there's all these trends and diets out there, and it confuses a lot of people. You know, and people are more aware now. I mean, with the internet, you can look up anything, but you can also find a lot of really bad information out there. You know, so it's really good if you can find information on the internet and go to a reliable source. But I think, like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar market, and then all these trends, people want to jump on the trends, and because they want the easy fix. You know, how can I lose weight in a week? And companies know this, and they jump on that, and they jump on, people want to lose weight really quick, but losing the wrong kind of weight, and it's just, that's where you get that big yo-yo diet thing going on. So it's all about education. Once you are educated on how to eat properly, then you can lose the weight and keep it off for life. Like I said last night to you, Lori, you can give a man a fish, feed him for a day, or you can teach a man a fish, how to fish, and feed him for a lifetime, right? But
this is wonderful. I think that the both of you together are just fantastic. We're going to actually post the links as well up on our YouTube, and we did state it out. People could get that, but if they want to go to the YouTube, I am that guy with I am that guy. We'll share that out. And literally too, yes, knowledge is everything. An improper diet can be more destructive than a proper long-term one. Trust me, I know. That's where it all started. It was a diet gone wrong. So you want to have that long-term, learn properly. Rodney, Sosan together can teach you guys that and give you a long-term experience of getting back on track, so to speak, getting to the weight you want to be, but maintaining it, not the yo-yo diet. This is not what we're about here. This is about a lifetime plan.
Yeah.
And also, you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Apps are made in the kitchen.
Yeah. That's right. Not in the gym. A little bit. May starts in the kitchen.
Yeah, people say, oh, I work out for like, I don't know, like an hour, so I can go to a fast food place and have the super size of everything. I'll be okay. No, sorry. You might work out for an hour, maybe burn 300 calories, but that meal's 1,000 calories. So the difference is still 700 calories extra.
Give me a triple cheeseburger, biggie fries, and a Diet Coke.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I worked at McDonald's when I was 16. That's actually where my weight started getting back. They moved me from one place at 16 to another, and then I worked at McDonald's. I will tell you though, I am very good. I still love my Big Mac, even having worked at McDonald's all those years. But I can't eat more than a half. But if I want one, I will buy one. But I don't expect, like you were saying, that, oh, well, I ran 10 miles, so now I can have a Big Mac. No, that's not my mindset. It's if I feel like it. And I generally only eat a half of it because that's all I can eat, because I eat it slow now.
Yeah. And some people will make the excuse, well, I'm eating this milk chocolate bar, but, it has milk in it.
This is great. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure.
Yes.
And it's that gal, Lorianne from Milton, Ontario with.
And that guy, Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. We thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate all your information and look forward to following you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great
Take care.
night, people.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.